Alright, well then, hi everyone. So, in this video we're gonna be taking a look at this rather rare 1982 Kenwood N60. And I'll explain why the title is what it is later in the video once I've opened this up. I was very lucky to get this. Seems like it's been taken care of quite well. I got it for a little over $2, and it was with a bunch of other tapes, and it's really nice. It's quite rare from what I can see based on, what the internet says and all that. So let's take a look around the cassette first. So I'm gonna zoom in over here. So as you can see, it says here low noise, high output, EQ 120 microseconds, normal position, and 60. If I put it like that, you can see there Kenwood N60. On the top, it says the same. On the sides, there's nothing on them, no text, except for on this one, where it says here Kenwood N60. Now let's take a look at the back. The back is the more interesting part, in my opinion. So, let's take a look at this. N60. Tape selector normal. Bias normal. EQ 120 microseconds. Kenwood N60 60 minutes. 1 7/8 inches per second. Two sides of 30 minutes each. And this bit is kind of interesting. Use this cassette only in a tape deck with a normal selector position. That one, in my opinion, is quite an interesting remark because at the time, 1982, pretty much all cassette decks had a normal position selector. If you couldn't select, well, it would automatically be on normal position. If you compare it though to later models from like the late 80s, 90s, and further, like, those like Tascam Porta Studio type things, those ones, some of them were actually set to be biased for type 2 only, but by this time I'm pretty sure no cassette decks were like that. You could have a selector for multiple types, like my Victor KD-A66, or you could select one of all four types. But, by the time, everything had support for type 1. So now, anyway, on the lower bit, it says here, Kenwood and tape is an improved type that gives excellent results of recording, and the same stuff in other languages. At the bottom, you'll see Kenwood warranty. In the event of any defect attributable to the manufacturer, Kenwood will replace the tape free of charge. Just inform the nearest Kenwood office or your Kenwood dealer. Trio Kenwood Corp? Do you call it Core or Corp? I don't know. But, Trio Kenwood Corporation. And you can see the compact cassette logo, and it's made in Japan. Now, the Trio Kenwood Corporation, if you've seen Tecmo's video on Kenwood as a brand, you will know about the story of Trio and Kenwood, but I'll just briefly summarize it here. Basically, Trio is a Japanese company, and Kenwood is a company made by a couple of Japanese people in America, and basically what they did was they imported Trio goods into America and branded them as Kenwood. But eventually, Kenwood bought Trio, and they named them the Trio Kenwood Corporation, but eventually later, a little bit later after that, they renamed the entire company to be Kenwood. So this was during a time when Trio and Kenwood were already merged, but they were still named Trio Kenwood. Now, I have a Trio tuner in my hi-fi setup, and you'll see that in the recording test. But for now, yeah, Trio Kenwood. Okay, hi everyone. This is a random oven during editing, and apparently, no, you will not see my tuner in the recording section of the video, but you can take a look at the iCard that should appear right now, which is of one of my previous videos where you can spot the tuner. Anyway, back to the tape. From 1982. So, we'll take a look at this tape. I guess it's about time then for me to open this up. So it's another one of those cellophane things with the line on the side where it's easy to open. So let me just slowly do this. Yeah, I don't want to do much damage. This is a very ancient cassette. This would be my second oldest sealed cassette, because my oldest is a Sony, which I'll show later. Okay, well, it got off rather smoothly actually, no tears whatsoever other than the little line. And you can see that it has basically the same thing as what's in the wrapper. So, yeah, I think it looks really nice, that design. Here, in the J card, you'll see Kenwood N60. Here, this is very, very reminiscent of another tape, but I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, here you can see the other information. You know, normal, 120 microseconds, Kenwood, yeah, all of that stuff. The same stuff that I read in the wrapper. Now, let's take a look at the tape itself, and immediately you'll be able to see what it reminds me of. Oh, by the way, in the corner there, it says Japan. It's like engraved on there. So then, let's take a look at the tape itself. Let's open this up. Ta-da! Yeah, that's the tape. Let's take a look here. Kenwood N60, bias normal, EQ 120 microseconds, compact cassette logo, side A, and you'll see here noise reduction in and out. On the other side, it's just the same, but it is side B. So then, I'm sure by now you already know what tape this reminds me of, but for those who haven't thought about it yet, I would like you to take a guess. Yeah, I'll give you a short moment to think about it. Okay, well, if you don't know what this reminds me of, I'm going to put this on the left side, and on the right side, I'm going to put an image right here of what it reminds me of. As you can see there, that looks very similar, doesn't it? Because this Kenwood is actually a rebranded 1979 TDKD. So what I'm guessing is that in 1982, when Kenwood OEM'd from TDK, TDK did not give them the 1982 formula and shell, rather they gave them leftover 1979 stuff. So right now, this Kenwood, yeah, very reminiscent of the TDKD from 1979, but it's flipped colors, right? Because the 1979D is white instead of black on the Kenwood. I don't know why, but there's a bit of rust on the screw there on the corner, but whatever, I don't really care. But yeah, this is a TDK tape branded as Kenwood, which is so interesting, and it's rather rare nowadays because TDK did not do many of these Kenwoods. I think they stuck around until around 1988, and then after that, yeah, nothing. I'm not sure if it's 1988 or 85, but I'm fairly certain it's around 88. But yeah, Kenwood tapes. Now, with my Bic, let's take a look at the tape itself. Yeah, let me zoom in there. You can see it's rather brown, and let me compare it with one of my 1982 TDKDs to see if it is the same formula. Let me just grab it for a second. Okay, I got the D. 1982 TDKD, of course. Very popular tape. Okay, this is the color. If I put them right there, they have a very similar color. I'm actually kind of surprised. So, my theory was a bit wrong then. The Kenwood does not actually use the 1979 formula. Rather, it uses the 1982 formula. So, these Kenwood tapes were given the same formula by TDK. It's just that they used the 79 shell and label design. So that is very, very interesting indeed. This has a bit of writing from the previous owner because I bought this used, but don't worry about that. Yeah, so Kenwood and TDK, unlikely partnership in my opinion, but yeah, that is a very interesting thing to know. So, yeah. That should be about it on the overview of the tape itself. Right now, let's take a look at the J card. So I'm gonna open it up and take it out. Okay, so let's read this actually. Yeah, tips on handling and storage. Avoid touching the tape with your fingers. You may cause dropouts or scratches. Protect your cassette from dust and damage when not in use by keeping it in its protective plastic box. The tape should be wound snugly on the cassette reels. If the tape is loose, carefully wind it on to one of the reels by gently turning one of the hubs. Keep the recorder head and pinch roller clean by regular use of a cassette. That was kind of weird. For some reason my camera automatically stopped recording. Anyway, keep the recorder head and pinch roller clean by regular use of a good cassette head cleaner. Avoid prolonged exposure of cassettes to excessive heat. Should be kept below 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius humidity, direct sunlight, and strong magnetic fields. Do not store near heating appliances, TV sets, or similar equipment. To preserve valuable or prized recordings, pinch out and remove the erasure prevention lug on the top edge of the cassette. The write protect notches, as you know. And it's the same thing in... what language is this? German? I don't know. Yeah, probably German. It looks German to me, but I really don't know. Now, if I take a look, if I unfold it over here, let me zoom out a bit. Yeah, you can see it's very plain on the other side. And this one, yeah, same thing, but in, I think this is French, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Fairly certain this is French. So, yeah. French instructions for use. Yeah, 99% sure that's French. And then it says a bunch of addresses for Kenwood, and Trio Kenwood rather. But some of them are actually named Kenwood. Those in the United States are named Kenwood already. Yeah. So, that's it for the J card. But yeah, 79D, rebranded for Kenwood, using 82 tape. That's very interesting. And we'll test it out in the recording test, which will be in just a moment. Welcome to the audio test section of this video. So let's put the cassette in, the Kenwood N60 from 1982. And I already checked the levels and I made sure that this peaks at most +3, sometimes maybe +4. And the track we'll be using is from the YouTube audio library called Blast from the Past by Jeremy Black. And this is recorded on my Victor KD-A66. I mixed the stereo track down to mono because the sound card I have in my laptop can only do mono. So that's what's going to happen. And this is the first time that I'll be doing a cassette review video where I actually have direct line input into my computer. So that's good. So yeah, let's begin recording. I'm gonna fast forward to somewhere in the cassette. So I guess we'll pause here, or we'll stop there, and then I'm going to be editing this together since this is only a 2-head deck. I'm going to be making it so that I switch between the source and the tape. So I'll be taking 2 videos, one for the source, one for the tape, then I'll just switch between them in editing. So you'll hear the difference. So yeah, let's begin. This is Blast from the Past. Alright, so that's the Kenwood N60. To be honest, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I've worked with a lot of 1982 TDKDs, and essentially they sound pretty much the same in terms of quality. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So what do I think about this cassette? Well, to be honest, it's pretty much the embodiment of an entry-level ferric from the early 80s. It's very bassy. It doesn't have that much treble, especially compared to Chrome. And well, yeah, it's definitely very, very entry-level. And speaking of, this cassette sounds just very, very, very similar to the 1982 TDKD. They came out at the same time, their tapes look the same, they sound the same, I'm pretty sure they are the same. So, yeah. This Kenwood just uses probably old, repurposed TDK 1979D stock, you know? Because this is the same shell and everything as a 1979 TDKD. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting part of cassette history, you know, because, yeah, TDK did do a lot of OEMs for certain manufacturers. I'm pretty sure they did some for Pioneer as well, and Technics. But, yeah, barely anybody talks about the Kenwood OEMs because they're quite rare, and not many people know about them. Especially this early N60, I'm pretty sure it's one of the very first OEMs that TDK did for a different brand. So yeah, that's it. That's the Kenwood N60 from 1982. Yeah, very interesting, and it's very nice to be able to open something for the very first time for its 39 years of, you know, just being wrapped in plastic. Yeah, it's really nice opening these old cassettes. It's a piece of history just encapsulated there in the little plastic wrapper. And yeah, I love doing this. Really. So yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully I'll be able to find some more rare cassettes for a good price in the future. And hopefully you continue watching my other videos if you haven't seen them yet. And the link over here, I'll link them over here in the corner of the video. So yeah. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.